Since our early exit from Europe, things are looking good in the league and we've been on a good run of form. We've got a tough tie against Luzern today. Can we keep this up? Let's see. Roll that title. Welcome back everybody to episode 27 of the Liechtenstein Challenge here with Vaduz, and I'm just going to go through and show you what has been happening in terms of the schedule. We'll show you the league table and as well any transfers that we've made, and then we'll get straight into the Luzern game. We've also got the youth intake preview, so stick around for that. And if you haven't done so already, please make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thanks. So after the Servette game, things didn't go particularly well for us in the following games to Luzern and Zamac. A 2-1 defeat at home to Luzern, our bogey team after all, and then a 1-0 defeat, which was a bit uncharacteristic of ourselves, to Zamac. We did follow that up with a 1-0 win against Basel thanks to a goal from Ellis Messanero, but unfortunately at the end of August we lost 1-0 to Lugano. Our fortune did change in September with 3 victories. First off, a 2-0 victory against Stade Lausanne Ushi, 2 goals from Dorian Debachki. Then a 3-1 win away from home to St. Gallen, the previous winners of the league. Goals from Sani, Fair and Nataro, Vladi scoring for St. Gallen. And then our final game in September, we secured a remarkable 3-2 victory against Young Boys. 3 goals from Austin Sani, our Nigerian striker. I just wanted to show you the goals from this game because it was quite a good match. Kamara with the first goal from a set piece, and then in the 15th minute, Niasse scoring, and we weren't looking particularly good. But we changed it around in the second half. Johannesson here plays a lovely ball to Rajkovic, and Sani just slots it in, 2-1. Then the comeback was on after Fabio Fer played a lovely ball into Siddiqui. Sani gets above everybody else here and makes it 2-2. Then in the 71st minute, Burley plays a nice ball into Nataro and he gets a great cross in for Sani, and there is no chance for Young Boys, and we win this game 3-2. Then after the Young Boys match, October, our form dipped a little bit with a 3-1 defeat to Zurich, 2 draws to Winterthur and Lausanne, but we did win 3-1 in the Liechtenstein Cup against ourselves, and then got a 1-0 victory away from home to Servette. This was followed up by a very good run in November with wins against Luzern, Zamac and Basel away, which I'll show you the goals from in a minute. Unfortunately, in December, we got a defeat to Lugano, but we did recover with a 1-0 victory against Stade Lausanne Ushi. I just wanted to show you this match because this was a bit of a uncommon result, I would say, for us. 3-0 away at home to Basel. Seller, Nataro and Lampert getting the goals, and we did not deserve to win this based off the stats, but let's show you the goals. So first off, a nice free kick from Goliard, and Seller outside the box just slots it in. Then again, another set piece here. Rocha plays his ball off to Nataro, makes it 2-0. And then in the 87th minute, we had Basel on the run. Nicolau with a nice ball into Burley, and Lampard just slots it in the bottom corner. 3-0, 3 points, going back to Vaduz. After that match against Stade Lausanne Ushi, we had a bit of a tricky January. We started off with a friendly thanks to Letihi going to Real Valladolid. So we got that in. That was a 1-0 defeat at home. And then that was followed by probably my worst performance as Vaduz manager, which was 6-1 defeat to St. Gallen. It was a bit of an atrocious match. Unfortunately, we couldn't continue our good form against Young Boys, and that was a 2-1 defeat to Young Boys. Then 2 back-to-back draws. One I'm quite happy with, which was Zurich, because we particularly don't have a great record against Zurich. And then a 1-1 draw away to Winterthur. After the Winterthur match, we secured 2 victories against Luzern and Servette, winning 1-0 and 2-0 respectively. So in terms of the league table, that's put us into 6th place. We are on 40 points with 12 wins, 4 draws and 10 defeats. Zurich and Winterthur, surprisingly, are the top 2 teams in the division this season so far, but Young Boys and Luzern are trying to catch them up. We're a bit of far off that top first place, but we are going to aim to try and catch young boys in Luzern this season, as we are in sixth position, and I'd like to finish in the championship group rather than the relegation group. Surprise for St. Gallen to be so bad this season after they won the league last year, and Basel aren't having the greatest of seasons. I believe they sacked their manager and have replaced him. But in terms of our player stats, the only one that is of significance is that Hulsman's got 8 clean sheets. Apart from that, there's nothing really exciting, which I suppose is a good thing in a way. But let's get into some of the transfers that we've made, and I'm going to update you on a couple of players as well in the squad. We've also had our youth intake preview, which I'm really excited about. We're meant to have an excellent intake. It's apparently a golden generation for the club, and we are getting one attacking midfielder who is potentially very good. So Lampert may have some competition. We've also got a couple of defenders and wide midfielders and wingers that look okay. The rest particularly aren't great apart from the defensive midfielder. Hopefully they are a golden generation, but you know what happens when you say a golden generation. It doesn't turn out to be particularly great. But let's see anyway. So in terms of transfers, it's mainly been the two main signings that you can see that are there on a free and a loan. The remaining signings, Bakia and Claudio, are hot prospects for the future, which I'll show you in a moment. But we did pick up Ryan Johannesson from, it was actually a free transfer from Ingolstadt in Germany. He's Irish and Luxembourg and Swedish, but he hasn't represented anyone at a national team level. I know his star ratings aren't particularly good, but I think he's been okay so far. I don't think he's on a particularly big role contract, but he is on $5,000 a week. Hasn't done too bad in the games that we played him in. Like I say, 6.84, and he hasn't got nationality for Liechtenstein. That's a long way away. But potentially, maybe somebody for the future that we can develop into a Liechtenstein international. Then we also brought in Meliaro Bogarde from Salernitana in Italy. We've initially brought him in on a loan deal. I don't think there's any option to permanently sign him, but we can sign him on a free transfer if we do deem him necessary. The reason why I signed him, I'll explain in a little bit. But decent centre back, potentially DM for us this half of the season, I think. And he hasn't played a game for us at the moment, but I'm liking the look of him at the moment. But I'll go into why we signed him in a more. Then a bit of a punt signing, Lazar Bakir, Algerian from RC Alba in Algeria. I believe that's how I pronounced it correctly. Yeah, I believe I pronounced that correctly. If I haven't, then so be it. But yeah, sort of a punt signing. Only here for about a year. Another one hasn't been registered for Algeria or France, but maybe if he can develop, he's potentially somebody that can, can get into a Liechtenstein nationality, because that is pretty much the majority of my signings now. Is can we get them into Liechtenstein, nationality to improve the international team? Because if we improve the international team, it might improve our rep and it'll improve other Liechtenstein clubs as well. And then finally, another one that I sort of took a punt on, Claudio from Brazil, Juventude, 375 grand. Like the look of him, to be honest. A deep lying playmaker, but potentially somebody who can play as like an anchor man in future. I do have that DM role quite a bit, so not represented Brazil or Portugal. Has got a lot of potential. Only 18 years old as well, so maybe one for the future. So there hasn't been anyone in particular who has left the club that is a serious casualty. It's mainly been backup and reserve players and hot prospects, but I wanted to just show you these anyway. First one is Justin Ospelt. We signed him last season, I believe, from FCV Frankfurt, and he's been used in the Liechtenstein Cup. Never really played a game for us in his second spell at the club. He's gone to Ajax, but I think he's gone to the backup team, if I'm not mistaken, and it looks like that is the case. Yeah, so he's playing in the reserves at the moment, which isn't particularly good, but I'm hoping that he might get some games for Ajax to improve his cred in terms of Liechtenstein sort of thing, because he wasn't getting games for me with the players that I had in goal. But I'm not particularly disappointed that we let him go. Then we loaned out Gustavo Quintara out to Benevento. He wasn't getting any game time, and I think he would have potentially benefit from some game time playing in the Italian. I think it's second tier that Benevento are in, if not mistaken. Yeah, they are. We agreed a new deal though before he went out, so hopefully he can improve. And to be honest, I'm really liking the look of things. There's a couple of stats that maybe he needs to improve on defensively, but I hope he can get a good run of games at Benevento to improve him. So the reason why I signed Bagade is we loaned out Isik, and I think this is the last season with Gabriel Isik in the Vaduz team. He's been loaned out to a team in Slovakia. I'm not going to even pronounce that name because, yeah. But he wanted more game time, and I said that's fair enough. Didn't play very much in terms of games this season, maybe one cup appearance, but I just didn't have any use for him anymore. He's getting to 29 now, and I need him to go out on loan to try and get some more Liechtenstein caps. Because he's a Liechtenstein player, and we wanna see him used as a Liechtenstein. We want to see him used in the Liechtenstein national team. And then another hot prospect has gone out on loan to Yeoverdon, David Bakker. Needed some game time, I felt. He hasn't had any game time in the last 4 years, and his potential is pretty good for us. And I would like to use him down the line. So hopefully, in this half a season at Yeoverdon, he can do pretty well. Also, Kawa got a loan to a Brazilian team. He's not really developed as much as I hoped. We have signed him on a new deal, but I think this next loan deal needs to go particularly well for him to get any chance of him being registered in the first team. He is not too far away from Liechtenstein nationality, so maybe I might try my best to keep him around in terms of a backup player, if best, or a fringe player. I don't know if he's going to accept that, but I need all the help I can get when it comes to the Liechtenstein national team. Then finally, somebody you may not have seen for a while, but Finn Werner, he was one of our youth intake players a couple of seasons ago, has gone out on loan and he's gone to Ville in the second tier. I'm not sure how Villa are doing. They are in sixth at the moment. I haven't really kept an eye on the second tier, my bad. But yeah, he needed to go out on loan desperately because he's not played for many clubs outside of it. Does that's the problem that we have is that the hot prospects that we've got don't get much time in terms of loans. Primarily it's to Yeoverdon. They seem to pick up a lot of our youngsters, and I am trying my best to get Liechtenstein players that maybe can't do it for us to those other Swiss clubs because it helps us. Like that's the ultimate goal at the end of the day is to help the Liechtenstein national team to help Vaduz. So this is the team just before the Luzern game tomorrow. I just wanted to show you a couple of players that you might have noticed in those games. So for example, Austin Sarni. We brought him in last season, if I'm not mistaken, and has been doing pretty well for us. He's getting to a point where he potentially could be a starter. We couldn't find a striker basically in the summer or the January windows, so I've kept my finances pretty tight as best I can, and has been doing a job. As well as that, we've also got Oyendeng. I believe this guy is potentially going to be a very good player for us, so I've got him slotted into the first team as a result of this, because I've got a really bad feeling that we might lose him, and his value has already increased to a 4.1 million. So we might have a player on our hands with this boy. So we need to give Dick all the time he needs to develop. Also, I think as well, it's going to be Fabio Fair's last season with us. I'm going to try my best to find this man, this legend of Vaduz, a club. But I think it is the end for him because his quality is just fading away, unfortunately. He's always been a good player for us. I'm so glad I never got rid of him in the early days when we were struggling to get out of the Challenge League. But he's never let me down. Even this season, he's not been too bad for it. He's a fringe player for us now, which shows how much we've developed in these last 5 or 4 seasons that we've been at Vaduz. So yeah, sad to potentially see him go at the end of the season, but I'll update you when that happens. And the only other player I really wanted to mention in terms of a squad update is Martin Sherbert, American who played for Nomads, I believe, but got a loan deal at Cham last year and did really well and has been pretty solid in the games that we played him in. Definitely one potentially that we need to look out for going forward. In terms of next season, I can't see myself potentially losing anybody. The only risk may be Lampert. You can see in the bottom left-hand corner there, he is wanted by Vitesse. But I feel strong enough that we can hold on to him. The only departure I can see happening is going to probably be Fabio Fair. I think the remaining players are pretty much settled in for the next season. The only sort of addition that I can see bringing in next year is probably going to be a striker or maybe a midfielder. But we've got a lot of potential in the youth team, so we need to keep an eye on that as well. Here is how the league table plays itself out with Young Boys, Luzern and Stade Lausanne Ushi winning. That's made us drop into 7th place today. But if we were to get a win, we would end up in 5th position after 27 games. I was about to say 28. But we have got the game in hand today, obviously, with everybody else playing before us. Let's hopefully see if we can finally get a home win against Luzern. This is the team we're going to go for against Luzern today. It's pretty much the same team that beat Servette and Lausanne. So we're going to go with the 4-3-3, especially since we're at home. But we will bear in mind, I think, that we had a really bad defeat not long ago to St. Gallen with this formation, that if things don't tend to go very well, we need to chop and change it either to the 3-4-3 or the 4-1-4-1 formation. Just going to get into my usual opposition instructions and we'll see you in the game. Here we go for the Luzern game. We've gone with our 4-3-3 formation. Luzern going with their standard 4-2-3-1, which has worked very well for them over the years. I'm looking forward to a good game. This should be a tricky one for us, but I think we should be well up for it. Let's say. As usual, nobody from Liechtenstein has decided to come and support us. The stadium is not full. It's funny how certain games it is full, but when it comes to the league matches, it's very rarely full. Anyway, we're starting off as we mean to go on. And it looks like early on, Luzern are dominating the match. I'm not surprised by that at all. They've had more possession. We are camped out in our own half at the moment. And I'm instantly going to switch with a balanced to see how we get on. Keller, though, with a throw in. Rajkovic, Keller, Karoshia, Keller, Goliard. Unlucky from Karoshia there. At least we've had a shot, though. But yeah, Oidendenk is starting over Sani at the moment. The reason because of that is I just wanted to give Oidendenk a chance. I don't think Sani scored in the last game against Servette. So we'll see how that goes. Sony's probably our number one striker going forward for the remainder of the season. If it's not Sony and it's not Oidendank, then it's going to be Feniger, who hasn't particularly been consistent, let's say, this season. It looks like Luzern have got a good chance here. Belloco. But can we counter from it? Not really. Becker. Dawn. Shader. Vilga. Shader again. I think he's just beat the offside trap there, Karak. I don't know, though. It's poor defending that from Rego. I think he's just beat the offside trap. He hasn't. We are lucky there. That's a bit of a wake-up call from us. Yeah, he's just pipped him. I thought he timed that perfectly there, Kodak, but nearly called him the camera there, Kodak. Should really nickname him Kodak, shouldn't I? He's not one of my players, so it's not my responsibility. Anyway, Lukasl to Rajkovic. Unlucky from Oidendank. Unlucky there. Rajkovic, and it's a good header from Messinero. He's scoring headers from a lot of corners, Messinero. It's why he's in the team. It's why he's in the team. That's a great header, and Huber just can't really parry it very well. Great corner from Rajkovic. He's been he's been a very good signing for us. Hopefully, he doesn't get picked up by the Polish national team. Apologies if I said Rocha earlier for that offside. I thought it was Rocha and Rego because I'm used to them being the two centre backs. But Messinero's got himself in there for a reason. So also Boyer's had a couple of good games for us. And as soon as I say that, Luzern have a chance. Dawn. I think we can hit them on a counter here. Good strike, but it didn't need anything. I think we can then potentially hit them on the counter here for a little bit. Maybe we had a quicker forward or something like that. I don't know. I might put us on like a high line in terms of at the top. Anyway, looking at Taro here over potentially a good ball into Oidendank. It's parried away just. Got them on the ropes here a little bit, I think. Luzern. RG to Nataro. To Lacasso. He's playing some great balls, Lacasso. Rajkovic makes it 2-0. He was greedy. Probably should have played at Oidendank, but yeah, 2-0 up against Luzern. That's a great ball from Lacasso, that. What a ball that is. To pick out Rajkovic, and yeah, I can see what he means about not passing it to Oidendank there. 2-0 up. Looking pretty. Good first half from us. I think we potentially have got more in this, though. Can we maybe play a little bit of a high line? Press them. Just on that counter. Just with Oidendank there and Nataro, and Nataro's looking really good. Goliot's doing really well as well. He's another one that's gone under the radar a bit. Definitely somebody, though, that I'm hoping will accept Liechtenstein nationality soon. I think Sani might be coming on in a bit. Speaking of the devil, it shows you how much I've been paying attention. I don't even have Sani on the bench. We'll bring on Nicolaco. We'll bring on Nicolau. Shows you how much attention I've been paying. We'll bring on Nicolau for Oydendenk. And I think also we'll bring on Debachki as well for Russia. A little bit more positive in this second half. Maybe get some more players on as well. Just in terms of game time, 70 minutes. Probably get Rajkovic on. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I'll bring Tobias Feniger on in the inside forward role, and then also maybe Begrade, yeah, for Keller. I know that's not his natural role. And then take, I think, Goliard off for Lampert, give him 20 minutes. But Luzern have had a good number of chances. Oh, Debachki, that was a lovely little bit of play there to try and break him up. A lovely little bit of play. Oh, I think that was Messinero again from the corner, but it's not led to anything. Fernandez to maybe get a consolation. I thought that was a good tackle from Messinero if that's a penalty. I really don't like how penalty animations are done in this game. I find them quite annoying, especially in the lower leagues. And with VAR, to be fair. Let's give a penalty. No. Good, good. It was never a penalty anyway. 4 more minutes. Few players on yellow cards, so just keep an eye on that. Can we get a third? Or is Luzern going to get an equaliser? Or consolation? Saranajek. Doesn't really lead to anything. Be nice to keep a clean sheet. I'm tempting fate now, aren't I? Went off the bar there. Luzern's a good team. Definitely a good team. But Boyer is doing very well now, I must admit. And that is full time. We have recorded our first home victory, I should say, against Luzern. We've never beaten them at home. Well done. That was a good win, lads. Very good result. And that will put us up to 5th in the table. We are only 6 points behind Young Boys. We've got the worst goal difference out of the top 6 as well. So we had a really bad season in terms of goal difference, but we're still in that top 5. And this guy said at the start of the game that, you know, don't over exaggerate Vaduz. That's 5 games unbeaten now, 2 draws and 3 wins. But yeah, let's have a look at this schedule. So I'm going to do these remaining fixtures offline, and then also we are going to we're going to do whichever section of the Super League we fall into, which I believe is at the moment we would fall into the Championship group. So the main goal will be to try and get into this Championship group, and then we'll probably end up playing the last game of the Championship group on the next video. And then I think we're going to get straight into Europe all over again, and let's see if we can qualify. Let me know your thoughts in terms of that next, not the next episode, but the episode after where we get Europe. If we somehow do qualify, I will obviously do games that are in Europe. But if we don't qualify, I think the way forward will be that we just go through the entire season, and then let's get into the next run of the Europa Conference League qualifiers. But let me know in the comments about that. A good win against Luzern there. Our first home victory against them. They are one of our bogey teams in the Swiss Super League, but I'm glad we finally got over the hump of beating them at home. We obviously did beat them away from home earlier in the season. Let me know seriously what your thoughts are with regards to how we play out next season with regards to Europe. I'm always keen to hear feedback to try and improve the videos. And yeah, I'm really happy with the win. That puts us 6 points behind the likes of Young Boys in Winterthur, and we're chasing Luzern on 45. So hopefully, by the end of the regular season, we can be in a good position to try and get into those top sort of like 3 positions, maybe. I don't think it's outrageous to maybe say that. We obviously wouldn't get the qualification places because we're a Liechtenstein team, but then again, we will get that money that we need. And obviously, we need as much money as we can from league positions and as well doing well in Europe so we can help improve our rep and get better players in. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's always appreciated. Thank you very much. And until next time, stay safe, take it easy. Bye, everybody.